KOAT 7, Albuquerque, New Mexico's news leader. This is Action 7 News, live at noon.
You're looking at a live picture from Sky 7 of a fire at the Honeywell plant in Albuquerque. It has firefighters scrambling. The blaze started as an electrical fire, but it's grown much larger.
The fire department says a high-voltage transformer outside the Phase 2 building is where the fire began. It then caused two others to break out inside.
When I looked up and saw a second column of smoke coming from 200 feet away from a roof vent, I knew we had a bigger problem.
The arcing of the transformer was just really unbelievable. It was just like a big arc welder. We had a secondary fire up in our switchgear area. Our breakers were melted. It was just a total loss of our switchgear.
It was burned to a crisp.
200,000 square feet of production area that was down because the switchgear was basically destroyed.
How long is it going to take us to get back on stream, get back online, and get this area producing again? Our division is a supplier of control and display systems to the military market. Our major products are mission management systems, air data computers, digital mapping systems, flight management systems, and so forth. As I indicated, we probably make some of the most sophisticated computerized avionic equipment in the world today. The situation in early 1998 was we just came off a very, very profitable year, a good year for this division, 1997. We had the pressures from corporate to continue that performance in 1998. We had the fact that we had to perform on new contracts won, and we also had the Iraqi war potential developing, which we had to more or less manage that and still take care of the customer requirements during this period of time. Then the fire hit.
The cause of the fire was due to some deterioration of our underground cables from our transformer to our switchgear. It was just so overwhelming because you see all our equipment that was just totally destroyed, and my thoughts were, just usually takes quite a while just to get a small circuit breaker, and I was faced with trying to find a whole switchgear.
Shortly after the fire was put out, we contacted ETI and had them present on site, and we called a meeting with everybody, our Public Service Company of New Mexico, ETI. After that, then we started focusing on the production area and trying to get power back then. It was important to management to try to get as many people back to work on Monday as possible, and so that was our general focus, is to try to make that happen.
It was the end of the month on a Friday afternoon. I was thinking about calling it a day early, and got an urgent call from my office saying, get a hold of Randy at ETI. There's been a fire at Honeywell. When Honeywell first assessed the situation, they were convinced the switchgear was going to be the critical path item, and that it would be the slowest part of the whole process of recovery. Based on what they'd heard, they expected it was going to take a number of months. I was talking in terms of how many days, less than a week. They, I think, had some skepticism initially, but Randy Allen from ETI had told them that IEM was good at this type of thing, and they believed him, and they believed me when I told them about it.
We were given a turnkey project by Honeywell to get their system back up, and it ended up where the switchgear and other product was separated from our contract. Our main concern was if they would end up with a reliable switchboard. I'm not saying that it couldn't have been supplied by others, but the initial reason that IEM was brought into this is because of their custom building capabilities.
So when was usually a quitting time on a Friday? Everybody just wants to get out of there and go home, any place you work. And I didn't get any of that kind of static from them. It was just, what can we do to help? what does a customer need.
Well, in this case, it was a neat situation because Paul Droege was working very closely with the customer, and therefore he can communicate back to us what his requirements were.
Well, we first contacted IEM on that Friday evening around 7:30 and gave them a verbal PO to go ahead and start designing and building the switchgear for us.
At that point, I was really able to get the information that I needed in order to save time, in order to get to our engineering department. And engineering stayed up half the night, put together the drawings, and downloaded that to our computer system so we could start cutting metal the next day.
After making several phone calls and around town and to our vendors and getting lead times of 14, 18 weeks, we talked to IEM and they were willing to build some custom switchgear for us and even do a little upgrading on our system in a couple days.
Our first impressions of being able to obtain the switchgear in that short a time frame left us a little skittish. We were a little concerned of what kind of quality we'd get.
Once the customer knew that I was actually going to ship the board on Sunday night, like we told him we were going to, he called me and asked me if it was too late to add a meter. The change was relatively minor to us, but it was monumental to them.
When we actually said go on adding the meter, they thought it was going to add at least 12 hours, maybe another day, because of the rework and changes. What actually turned out was it added about an extra 2 hours to the process. They were able to basically shift on the fly and recut the metal, add the brackets, put in the CTs, and provide the metering that was desired with barely a change in the schedule.
After we received the equipment and we started the installation of it, we were very impressed with the quality of it. It met the specifications that we sent them. It had to fit the existing space. It had to fit the existing clearances. We had chill water lines directly over it. We had a lot of space limitations, and they were able to meet our specification and get the switchgear built to where we could get it installed in the existing area without making any major modifications.
It was really great being part of the IEM team in the midst of this. Here I had a customer in crisis, huge needs, very, very serious problems, and we were, center stage in terms of providing a solution. IEM didn't just come up with a solution, but they hit it out of the park.
I think with IEM's ability to do custom design work in a quick turnaround time frame is really what enabled us to bring our building back online much, much sooner than we anticipated.
They were convinced they were going to be down for weeks, if not months, until we came on the scene. By the time we were done, we had turned that around so that they were only going to be out for a couple of days.
We here at Honeywell, we pride ourselves on customer delight, and I would say that IEM delighted us with their attitude, with their performance during a very serious period of time in our situation in our division. And for that, I'll be forever personally thankful for them for that. So I'll guarantee you that if we ever had another problem, and we had to go to IEM, which God forbid, never in my watch, I don't want another problem like this again, but if it would ever happen, we went to IEM, I know that those folks out there would bend over backwards.